start cutting on my project. I've always wanted to try to cut close to the block as possible. So I'm going to start right in here and just start cutting. I want to keep my blade nice and straight to the material. And don't forget to lubricate your blade with paraffin. I would suggest every few minutes lubricating your blade. One good hint that I find for doing work like this is let the saw do the work. Don't try to force the blade in, and just let it saw. It'll take time, but you'll be surprised what a great finish you'll get from doing a nice job. Another good suggestion is to use as much of the blade as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and saw these out, and I'll be back in a little bit and we'll continue on. Alright, I have my plates. They're all sawed out. I also took the liberty at this time to cut out my template for my dial and do the same procedure as we did before, just glue it on and saw that out. So basically all my sawing is done for this clock at this time. Next thing I want to do is now I want to assemble my plates. As you can notice, I have already drilled out these holes on my plates. I would suggest starting out by drilling these two top holes and reaming them out with a 1/4 inch reamer. I like to really use this type of pin. It's a 1/4 inch spring pin. It taps its way really nicely into the hole that you're putting it into, as long as you did ream it first with a 1/4 inch reamer, and it'll really secure it in place. We could use nuts and bolts, but I've really found that using this type of spring pin is really relatively easy and is very secure to putting your clock together. So what I'm going to do is put my spring pin. These all already been drilled and reamed, so I'm going to put my spring pin in there, then I'll do the rest of the clock at that time. Alright, I have my top spring pin in, as you can see here, and I told you before that to drill out these other holes. Now that I have this spring pin in, now I would run my reamer through the rest of these holes. They'll cause to line up all the plates really nice. This does a really nice job that way of aligning up your two plates. So I'm going to go ahead and put my spring pins in my other holes, and then we'll come back and we're going to do some filing. Alright, we're going to start our filing of our plates now. As you can see, we have our plates assembled with our pins, and we're ready to start filing. I would probably make a suggestion here. This is a pan of ice. It's just adequate for doing an operation like this. I do like it because it does have these rubber inserts in here to protect your plates. Remember, any kind of scratches you put in, you're going to have to remove later. So I do choose to use a pan of ice for something like this. If you don't have a pan of ice, any good vise will work, but I would suggest putting in some rubber or some wooden inserts to protect your plates. Type of filing we're going to do is we're just going to use different types of files. This happens to be a 4-inch, which is my choice of file. This is a double cut, and the reason I want to start with a double cut is that there's probably some little rough edges from sawing, and this will take away a lot of that pretty quickly. When we sawed on our line, so we should be pretty close all the way around on this whole thing. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit, and you can see some of the roughness here, right in here, but again, come out pretty easy. With just a small amount of work. This is something you should be able to file complete in a couple hours. After you get your plates done, you also want to do your dial plate, or your dial plate. So I'm going to just start. Again, I'm going to let the file do the work. Go in, take care of my edges, nice square corners. I do like the half round file. The half round file is nice for getting into those corners up in here because of the radius in here. And then again, I'm going to go ahead and do my top of my plates. And after I get everything done, I want to use a technique that I have in the instruction book called draw filing. Draw filing is a really good way of getting nice, flat, shiny surfaces. There is a link in the book to tell you where to look for it, but this is what draw filing is. I'm bringing this back and forth. This will actually give a beautifully machine-looked finish very, very quickly. When I designed the clock, I had all these radiuses and everything figured so that you can actually use a flat file on this whole thing and draw file this whole edge very easily, very quickly, and give yourself a nice smear finish. That's what we call draw filing. And again, pretty simple to do. You should be able to line your plates up really nice without any problem and really have it look nice. When you get done filing, I would suggest using some emery cloth, crocus cloth, whatever you want to call it. I like to do is put it on my file then and very lightly put that nice smear finish on your edges if you choose to want that kind of finish. Here's my dial all cut out, and again I'm going to do the same thing. One thing that you should be familiarize yourself with this dial is right at the very, very top here. There's a little line, and that's for your 12 o'clock notch. So when you cut out your dial out of your instructions, that you can line the number 12 up with this little cut in here. Also, there's a little arc here cut out, and that's for clearance for the key for winding the clock. Again, we're going to do nothing different than we did with the plates. We're going to put it in, and I would suggest on this, I would draw file this whole thing. You've probably had, now that you've cut out the plates, you've had a little more experience on sawing, so this will actually work very, very quickly. Draw file these faces, these edges, very, very quickly. You'll be surprised how quickly you're going to make that happen. Well, that's it for this video. The next one will probably be in a few weeks after everybody gets their plates done, and we're going to go to making our pillar posts. Any questions, go to the members forum, leave some comments or questions, and I'll answer them as soon as I can.